parents, you may think no one knows your kid like you do, but Jean Hainer can read them like an open book just by looking at their faces. She's here to share her insight on your child's appearance and what it really means for your child to have your nose and their father's eyes. Good morning, Jean. How are you?
Good morning. Great. Thank you.
So I was just asking you in the commercial break if you had a child and if this worked for you.
It is so useful, I can't tell you. Yeah, my son is 22 now. He's about to graduate from college, and being able to read his face has saved me a lot of times to understand really how to support who he is. You know, we think our kids don't come with a user's manual, but in fact, what I would say is that we do. You know, their faces are their user manuals, and face reading is actually a branch of Chinese medicine, and what they were able to figure out is that there's certain patterns on people's faces, in their features, for instance, that help you see how they'll tend to think and feel and behave. And if you know that about your child, it can really save so much stress in your life.
So what are some of these patterns? What should parents look for?
Yeah, well, this is kind of what I teach people to do, but, you know, for instance, if a child has a very large nose, that can mean a number of things about them, but one of the things that it can mean is that they have very specific needs for bedtime rituals. They need the blue blanket pulled right up to their chin and touching their chin. They need the door halfway open, for instance.
And so we want to look at a couple of photos.
Sure.
And have you explain what exactly these faces mean in terms of their characteristics. So we'll take a look at this first one here on the screen.
Look at this. So even from birth, you know, babies and children's faces, of course, continue to change and grow as they grow and develop. But you can see from this baby's face, for instance, that his temples, the sides of his forehead, are a little bit indented. That's a sign of someone who, throughout their lives, will tend to work very hard, concentrate very hard, be more active than other people. So this is a little guy who's going to grow up and probably be involved in sports, and may even be very athletic when he grows up.
What are those adorable chubby cheeks mean?
I know, that's sweet.
Besides that, he loves to eat.
Well, now here we have some little guy with a little girl rather with a cleft chin. In Chinese face reading, that's called the mark of the performer, and that's a child who will need a little bit of extra attention. Don't be surprised if they're always saying, "Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me now, look at me, look at me," until you're about ready to tear your hair out.
Mommy, watch this. Dad,
right.
watch that.
Yes.
Okay.
So here we have the little princess. Her eyebrows are set very high above her eyes. And literally, when I read her face, her father was just amazed. His jaw was dropping because he said, "You've got her completely pegged." Eyebrows that are so high above someone's eyes are someone who has very high expectations, and they kind of want and expect other people to do things for them.
Okay.
They'll be a little critical of other people, too.
Good to know in reading adults then, too, probably.
Yes, it's very useful for adults, yes.
Okay, and this next one?
Yeah, so this is a sweet guy. This is not the kind of boy who will be attracted to competitive sports. This is not the kind of guy who's going to be very aggressive. He may even feel a little bit lacking in self-confidence, but an incredibly kind guy and incredibly good in relationships. But if he's being brought up by parents who think that little boys should succeed in competitive sports, they're going to be judging him as something wrong with him, and he's going to feel like there's something wrong with him. So this is why this can be so useful, is that you can understand who your child really is inside and support them in flourishing the best way possible.
Okay, and we'll look at another.
Yeah, so here we have a teenager, okay? So, you know, I'm creating this even for kids in older ages in college. This is a guy with a very large nose and rather bony features, and this is a guy who's extremely perfectionistic, highly sensitive, very hard on himself when he makes mistakes. He's mortified when he makes a mistake.
And is that true of the bony structure in general, or the larger nose?
Certain combinations of features. So large nose with bony cheekbones often results in that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so we often just associate our facial characteristics with having inherited them genetically from our parents.
Yes.
So does that mean that the parents have those same sort of characteristics?
Very good, and that's absolutely true. I often have people say, "Well, this is crazy because I have my big nose because my father had that big nose. It's just genetics." And that's absolutely true. You inherited your father's big nose, and you inherited the personality characteristics that go along with it.
Now, I would imagine, as you were saying, that this is very helpful in raising your children, because you can kind of understand by their, maybe even by their facial expressions too, from moment to moment, how they're feeling inside.
Even that, but you know, it helps. It can even predict certain tendencies toward learning disabilities. It can help you understand why your child can't sit still, but your best friend's child can sit still, why one child is shy, why one child will have a harder time waking up in the morning and another one will bounce right out of bed.
Wow.
And it really helps you not react in a negative way to their certain challenges.
And to just understand them better. Okay, well, you're going to be speaking in Encinitas, so if you could just give us the details on that, because I'm sure folks are interested in seeing that.
This is a free talk I'll be giving in Encinitas tomorrow night, Wednesday at 7:30 at the Encinitas Community Center. All the details are on my website, which is wisdomofyourface.com.
And right here on our screen. Well, thank you so much, Jean.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Well, for more information, you can go to san diego6.com.